Shadows whisper when the lights go dim. Cold breath crawling on my skin. Voices echo from the other side. Is it real or just my mind? Things paranormal talks in the dark. Secrets buried leave a burning mark. We interview the dead, we debate the unknown. Chasing shadows where the seeds are sown. Fingers tapping on a Ouija board. Broken silence like a shattered chord. Eerie hums in the dead of night.
Thought I lost you for a second.
Yeah, I thought everything shut down.
I love that introduction.
Thank you, thank you. All the credits go to Shane because he made it possible.
Oh, wow. Very, very good.
Are you stuck, Shane? I think he's stuck. So let us start. Welcome to another episode of Things Paranormal Talks. Tonight we have a special guest, an author, founder, and lead investigator of Archangel Paranormal Society. And I don't know the rest, but Tony Belsito.
There you go. Thank you. It's great to be on with you.
Thanks for dropping in.
You bet.
Absolutely. I'm sharing out. Is your sound back, Shane?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yeah.
I can hear you. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. You're back.
Okay,
So,
you, but I have
Yeah.
no idea if I can see you because I don't see shit.
okay.
My screen is gone.
Oh, no.
I can hear you, but I don't see anything.
Oh, that's
I don't. It's the internet connection. I don't know what it is. It's very annoying. I can see myself move.
ah,
that's a great start, Shane.
I don't know if that's a great start. It scared myself, but
we are back to our old selves. Everything is going to be messed up.
You know what happened?
Yep.
I complimented your introduction and the production of it, and that's I probably jinxed you, Shane.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for at least crediting me with that. But my internet sucks.
Yeah,
Everything
same here.
works fine except my
we
internet.
have this. We have the same problem here.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is. It's annoying. Anyhow, welcome.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you for joining us.
You bet.
We always start with one thing, and that is the question: if you would like to introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Well, yeah, my name is Tony Belsito, and I became an author for the first time, thus the book. But I spent, well, let's see, a number of years in sales, specifically 25 years in pharmaceutical sales, sales management. And then about 17 years, let's see, 14, 18 years in law enforcement. So as a special officer, not a commissioned officer, but a special officer, more recently with the Medina Police Department. And as I said before, I just recently wrote a book. It took me about 5 years to write it, on and off. And then the last year, I decided that I was going to really put the time and effort into it because I developed some medical issues. And I thought, geez, don't know how much more time I may have. So I wanted to get this book completed. So I finished that. In addition, I also lost a grandson 5 years ago to fentanyl poisoning. So I started to do something about it. I went on the road and I did presentations for the dangers of fentanyl, and had an excellent physician that had lost a dad and had family issues with alcoholism. So I ended up having her do a presentation for me. And that's what ended up getting me involved with the Cardinal Crew, where I am a board member now and the chairperson on the education side of it for the dangers of illicit drugs.
That is a um shocking story to me
Yeah.
because you lost a grandson, which I'm sorry
Thank you.
to hear that.
Yeah.
But wow,
Yeah.
you do a lot.
Yeah, I'm tired, Shane. I'm very tired. Um,
And
as I said before, we have 6 children, 50 grandkids, and one great granddaughter. The three of them live with us now. The two grandkids and the great granddaughter's mother live with us here in the house. So the Belsito house is always very active and very chaotic.
well, keeps you alive.
It does, yes, definitely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what got you into the paranormal?
Yeah, sure. I have a lot of experience in terms of stories that took place, but why I got into the paranormal is as a kid I was always fascinated with the paranormal, UFOs. I read all the books on the aliens and science fiction stories, titles like science fiction secrets, I believe it was, Seven Apparitions, Chariots of the God by Eric Van Daniken, and obviously Ghost Hunters, Strangest Cases by Hans Hoser, who I really loved. Hans Hoser was an awesome author. I've seen every horror movie in the '60s. The Blob, I think it was. I Married a Monster from Outer Space. I saw the Night of the Living Dead, 13 Ghosts, House of Ushers. And then I think in the '70s there was what Psycho, The Exorcist, The Eyes Have Hills, Amityville Horror. Those are all the things that really interested me when I was young, especially in the '60s. And then there was a show called Goulardi on TV. It was hosted by Ernie Anderson. It was on late at night Fridays, like around 11:20. And I remember he always had scary movies on. And I had a brother and 3 sisters, and I loved watching it at nighttime because I was a clown. During the scariest part of those movies, I would always sneak away and go rap on the window outside and make my sister scream and run up to my mom's bedroom because they got scared of the knock at the window. When in truth, to be honest with you, I was probably the scaredest of all of them. I remember as a young guy, I would always be afraid to go up to my bedroom because we had an old house, and it seemed like that bedroom was filled with ghosts. So I'd always tell my brother, "Oh, I'm getting kind of tired, Joe. You want to go to bed?" And he would go to bed. But then one day he finally said, I don't think you're tired. I think you're just afraid to go up there alone." So I was busted. And then there was the Ouija board. Back then in the '60s, especially, it was marketed as a toy, which I do not condone today. But we did had fun with it, and I remember always moving the planchette so that if we asked a question, my sister would ask a question. Are there any ghosts in here? I would make sure that my hand was moving that planchette so that the answer was always yes, and that was always a fun time. And then, and I always say, 50 times you play with that thing, it's fine. But then the 51st time you play with it, it could possibly open up a door to evil. So I highly recommend people stay away from the Ouija board. In fact, there's a great book called The Ouija Board, A Doorway to the Occult by Edward Gross. And he talks about how when you try to conjure up a family member, that many times it's not really your family member that you're conjuring up. It's a demonic spirit masquerading as a family member. Excellent book, though. And then there was the my aunt whose mother came from the old country, and she told us all kinds of stories. One in particular was about a young lady who was going to get married. Unfortunately, she had seizures, and then one time she had the seizure. she ended up passing away. When the old days in the old country, in fact here too, they didn't embalm you, and the wake was usually within your own home. And so what happened is they decided they were going to bury her in her wedding dress. And in those days, they had grave robbers. So the grave robbers went to take her jewelry and stuff like that. They dug her up and they tried to get the ring off. It was stuck, so they cut her finger off. And that flow of blood caused her to leave her coma, and she woke up. Of course, the grave robbers screamed and ran out of there. She went back to her home, and she ended up dying on the front porch because she was bled out to death. The parents thought that it was just a spirit and just kept saying, "We're just going to pray with you." And then there were some personal family experiences in 1988. My sister had lived in a home that seemed to be very haunted. They lived at, they had an amusement park nearby, and we were all going to go to the park. And when we left, she made sure that her 5 children were in the car and ready to go. But when we got back, a neighbor came up to us and said, "Hey, I was really worried because after you guys left, I could hear one of your kids running up and down the stairs and crying." Well, none of the kids were left behind. And interesting enough, in the back of that home was a cemetery. And in that cemetery, my children always noticed that there were children running around back there. And in the cemetery, they seemed to be dressed in a, like early 1900 clothing, but they would never talk to anybody. And when my children asked the cousins about it, they said, "Yeah, we see those kids all the time, and you're right, they don't talk to us. They just continue to go." One day, my mom stopped over to that house, and went to park the car in the driveway, and she heard one of the kids say, "Hi, Grandma." She got out of the car, went to the front porch to say hi, and there was nobody there. Another time, my niece Sharon was in the house there, and she was sitting on the couch, and she saw a young girl just get up and come from the kitchen, go up the stairs, and left and was upstairs. And she ran to tell her mom some girl went upstairs. They went up to look. There was no young girl upstairs. And then my brother felt when he sat on one of the couches there, he felt an arm wrapped around him like somebody had put their arm around him, and there was nobody there as well. And then one of the, I think one of the most interesting ones was when my niece Michelle was having a conference with some colleagues. She was sitting at a restaurant and she saw her brother walk in, but rather than say hello, he just kept going back and he went to the restroom. After about 15 minutes, she ended up having a colleague go and check in the restroom because he never came out. He came back and he says there's nobody in the restroom, but she was sure he went in there and sure he never came out. About a few hours later, her mom called her frantic, saying that the brother was found unresponsive and he died. And when they tried to find out about the time of death, ironically, it was about the same time that my niece saw her brother come through that restaurant. So, was that the brother really trying to say goodbye to the sister? I kind of think so, to be honest with you. But I've always had fascination with the afterlife. There was the book Life After Death, The Evidence by Dinesh D'Souza. I don't know if you really have read any of his books, but he posed the question of death is at the end and presents a science-based case that life after death is not merely possible, but highly probable. And unlike Richard Hawkins and Sam Harris and some of those that think that the end is just that, the end, Dinesh says that atheists had no more proof that there is no life after death than one believes that there is. And then there was another book that just fascinated me called Ghost Physics by J.C. Knight. And I was very impressed with him because he's a medical doctor. He has a doctorate in medicine. He's a professor. He teaches chemistry and also biology. And he says he wrote the book in principle of medicine to establish what ghost is and to raise awareness that that there needs to be a serious research into the paranormal field, which I totally agree with that. His theory is that when a person dies, a portion of that physical brain is converted to energy and leaves the body as a consciousness singularity. So ghosts are spirits of people who have passed away. And I actually wanted to have a conference bringing in JC, and he did agree to it. But unfortunately, my team at the time, the Archangel Paranormal team, really didn't have a lot of interest in it, so we never did get it off the ground. I talk in the book about quantum physics. Quantum physics are the question, is death an illusion? And according to quantum physics, it may be. Quantum physics is that branch of science that studies the behavior of matter and energy at the smallest scales in atomic and subatomic particles. In the quantum world, particles can exist in multiple places at once and in multiple universes in theory. In fact, you may have a different dimension, choose a different partner in your life, which my wife was always excited to hear about that, and a different career possibly. Quantum physics also suggests that death itself must be an illusion of consciousness. Time is a construct, obviously, of the mind, so consciousness may present across parallel universes, further complicating the definition of death. So these are some of the things that I found very interesting, and to be honest with you, I wanted to delve into the paranormal. The what really got me into the paranormal though was my mom. And my dad passed away in 1966. He left there interstate, no will, no insurance, and I I knew that at some time someone was going to have to take care of my mom because he died interstate, no will, no insurance. So I built a home, a 2,500 square foot home. Got her to move in with us. She had her in-law suite, own kitchen, bedroom, dining room, bathroom. And I always talked to her about what Houdini always did. He had a love for his mom, and he was an illusionist. And he always told his mom that after she passed away, he wanted to make sure she was okay. And when I told my mom that, she was always a very stout Roman Catholic, and would always say, just pray, don't talk like that. Well, my mom finally developed the one thing she hoped she never would get, and that was Alzheimer's. And she had that for about 9 years, and got to the point where she could hardly talk or walk or anything like that. And finally, my mom passed away from it. And about 2 weeks after that, I received a call from a friend of mine, and who was a server in a restaurant bar. And she asked if I was in town. I said, yeah. She said, why don't you come and have lunch? So I did. And when I got there was a lady that was sitting in the bar, and I know she kept staring at me. And at one point in time, I turned around and she was behind me. And I asked, can I help you? And she says, I'm supposed to tell you something, but I'm not sure if I should. And I said, what's going on? She says, did you recently lose your mom? Oh my God, my heart just fell to the floor. I said, yeah, why? What's going on? And she started crying. I says, what's going on? She says, your mom, I'm a medium and your mom's here and she has a message for you. I said, what does my mom want to tell me? She says, your mom said to tell you, stop worrying about her. She's never been more proud the way you took care of her all those years and how you tried to comfort her when she was near death. Now, nobody would have known that unless they were in the room. Because a lot of times, I've seen mediums. I know a lot of mediums. Many of them are fake. Many of them try to make you feel comfort, but they really fish for the questions for the right answers. This lady could have never known that. So after that, I became real interested in the paranormal. I wanted to form a team. And within a year, I tried to look for that lady because I forgot to ask her for her name and number. But eventually, I did find her. She was part of my team. In fact, she was on we were on, one of our cases was on Paranormal Survivor, and she's the medium that is in that show. But, you know, the team then was developed as a result of, the things that happened with my mom. And I was able to have an awesome team. But we were different than most paranormal teams. We didn't go to graveyards. We didn't do seances. Strictly residential homes, and strictly helping people that were in fear of something that was happening that they just couldn't explain.
Yeah,
Long story, but
a
I
long
tried to
story,
condense
but
that.
very, very impressive. I was actually getting goosebumps by the story of the medium and your mom.
Yeah.
As soon as you started telling that one, it was like, there went the hairs. They went up,
Yeah,
all went up.
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that's amazing, and the fact that you and your team started doing the residential investigations because of the reason that people are scared of something they can't see or fight.
Yes.
That's one of the main reasons I started. So
Oh, really?
that's yeah, because I know what it is to be scared, and I know what it is that friends told me I'm scared because I can't see the thing that's in my house, and I know I'm not crazy. And
Right.
these were the main reasons that I'm like, yeah, I have to start doing something about this because I know I can.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
But that's something I hope to hear a lot more of paranormal researchers because it's not there a lot. I noticed in all the
Yeah.
time that we do this podcast.
Yeah.
Usually we
Yes.
ask, do you do residential or do you only do the buildings? And we only got the answer, we do the buildings, we don't do residential. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've done it. You know, some of the buildings that we did were like Waverly Hills, in Louisville, Kentucky. The reason we did that is that we were a for-profit. Actually, I didn't want to be nonprofit like many are, and the reason for that is because if you're nonprofit and truly set up that way. Somebody could really come in and say, "I don't want you as the president or the CEO of that organization," and can kick you right out. So we were a profit. So in order to be able to pay for our trips and be able to have the gas money to go out of town to help somebody, we did some fundraisers and things like that. One of them was Waverly Hills, where we would invite guests to come with us, and we would give them tours of the building and help them with the equipment, share some of our equipment with them, and be able to have somebody have an experience that they normally never would have had they not found a team like ours to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, definitely, I think the paranormal definitely needs um, to get I would say a little bit better in terms of research, so that it's not looked at as hocus pocus. It's looked more scientific, and that's why some of these books, like I mentioned, with J.C. Knight, Ghost Physics, and Dinesh D'Souza, Life After Death, the evidence. When you look at the science of it, there, especially with quantum physics, you definitely get into the realm of possibilities, and it does share a lot more scientific evidence than it does. And my next door neighbor saw a ghost, and he believes that the ghost is in his home there. So that's why I think we need more research done.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Uh, Pops a question in my head. Typically Dutch way to ask, but you went to Waverly Hills. Did you have any experiences over there?
Oh yes, we definitely did. Every time we went there, we had experiences. The Death Truth was one of them, where we actually saw some shadows. We heard voices. People were touched. A couple of our paranormal investigators, and I had some awesome paranormal investigators. At one time, I had 33 investigators, but more recently, some people like Shane, Diana, Chad, Tom, my son Mike, Zane. Um, these were awesome people that really helped to develop the group. But yeah, we definitely had some interesting thing. One particularly interesting thing is at the time, the last time we went there, I had a problem with my knee. I was going to have a knee replacement, and one of the other investigators had some back problems. So I said, rather than us go up and down these 5-story stairs, let's just stay in the solarium where many of the people that had tuberculosis would stay, because they built these so that you had a southern exposure to sun, because they believed that the sun was going to cure tuberculosis. So we stayed in that particular room, and I said, why don't we just walk down the hall a little bit and do an EVP? So she agreed. We picked up when we started to walk down the hall. And I said, it had to be horrible to be a tuberculosis patient here and to be here for the rest of your life. Um, and all of a sudden, when we were done with that, I said, let's go back into the solarium and let's replay this, see if we've heard anything. And when we went back in there and started to replay the recorder, you could hear, and I still have that on my phone to this day. You could hear, "I didn't make it." It was a female voice, sound like maybe in her 60s, and it was just. I mean, I got the. You talked about a chill before. Yeah, let me tell you the chill that I got. And I said, "Wow, that is amazing." I said, if you're still here, could you show us a sign? And all of a sudden, I don't know if you've ever been to Waverly Hill, but in that solarium, they have these huge wooden doors that are very heavy. And all of a sudden, the doors slowly start to open up. And I said, "Oh my God, if that was you, can you make that door shut?" And all of a sudden, the door slowly started to shut. So that was pretty confirmation to me that there was somebody there. And the voice work that we caught on there was obviously uh, somebody that had been in that facility for tuberculosis and just didn't make it.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And what was great about that is some of the people that paid money to come with us was involved in that and got to be able to hear and see some of this, some of the experience that we had there. And but the place is filled with a lot of, sadly, a lot of people who have passed away there, and a lot of exposure to the paranormal there. If you haven't been there, it's a great place to go and visit at least one time.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
Yeah. Have you been
Absolutely.
there?
No.
No, we've
Uh,
never been to America, so
yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I've never been to the Netherlands, so I've been to Italy one time. That's as far as I got. A gift from my son, so that was an awesome visit.
it's not that far off the Netherlands.
No,
No.
it's not. No.
No, it's a 2-day drive, so it's
Yeah.
not that far.
Yeah. Of course, you guys have a lot of where we have old buildings and things like that. You have a lot of history with regard to what war and stuff like that. Is that what you?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I
First
thought.
first and second World War. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Even with Napoleon and the siege of certain cities here. So the Romans were here, so Italian influence. We had a lot.
is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, still jealous of America though.
Why that?
Not
Cuz
jealous, just curious.
no,
Okay.
I'm jealous cuz the government over there is a lot easier with going into buildings, or at
Yeah.
least make people go into buildings like paranormal investigators, than here in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Oh, is
Here
that
in
true?
the, no, let me say here in Europe, they're a
Hmm.
bunch of dumbasses,
Okay.
and they destroy every building that is empty.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
That.
won't let you buy it. They just tear it down and build houses on them.
Wow. Well, that was the problem with Waverly Hill. They wanted to knock that one down as well, and there was a outcry
I
by the
heard.
community. They wanted to save that, so they had GoFundMe and whatnot to have it restored back to its original conditions because it is a beautiful building. But I would say that in the United States, it's getting a little bit more difficult. I saw one of your other guests not long ago on there. I was talking about that, where sometimes it's difficult to get permission to go into these buildings. Now, there's the flip side of that. There are buildings where you could pay as a paranormal investigator to go in there. I personally didn't like that because a lot of those facilities, in my opinion, are just money making. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for to make some money.
Yeah.
There's and many times I believe that there was no paranormal activity in the place. It was just something that they were forming in order to have some revenue, income revenue coming in. But the facilities themselves are getting a little bit more difficult here in the United States as well, and part of that is insurance. They don't want anyone to get hurt in there, and you definitely have to sign a contract saying that if you did get go in there and you got hurt, that you couldn't sue them. But many of the buildings are taken over by the pharmaceutical by the paranormal industry, and they won't allow people like myself to go in there and investigate. They just want you know clients to come in there and to pay the $450 for the
Yeah.
6 hours that you're going to be in there.
Yeah, that's a lot. I've heard a lot about that as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
that's sad if you think about it.
it
Yeah,
is.
but here the castles ask also, I think for 3 or 4 hours, uh, 600,
Euro.
650.
Yeah,
So it's
Wow.
expensive as well.
Yeah,
yeah.
and see that's where I'm jealous because I would love to be able to investigate in a castle. Uh, we just don't have the bear, obviously, but that would be an awesome bucket list to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I did kind of a spook over with another paranormal team, the same as you did
Oh,
in
wow.
Waverly. Um and we did that in a castle around here in the Netherlands. It was way too busy because there were too many people. So a real investigation it wasn't, and there were a lot of um, either competitive teams or people who are so new to the paranormal they had no idea what they were doing. So, but it was cool to be in that castle in the middle of the night. That it was.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
hope to do it again one day.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be
Yeah,
awesome. Mhm.
You always can illegally investigate on a not so busy day.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Just take the EVP recorder with you and walk around.
Yeah,
Well, and to be honest with you, a lot of people have all this fair. Remember the old days? The old days was like ghost hunters, where you had wires that had to be strung across for miles and miles and miles. We did that in the beginning. Had video cameras set up and things like that. Today, the equipment is fairly simple and not too expensive, but I know a lot of people will still have uh, ghost box and things like that. I was never a believer in that. We were very simple with digital recorders, uh, LED cameras, and things like that. But most of the evidence that I ever picked up was on a digital recorder, or the camera where you saw the shadows and you were able to pick that up. So you don't really need a whole lot of expensive equipment, to be honest with you, today. You just need to have the time and the place to go to.
Exactly. Yeah, Mary and I, we do investigations ourselves. We are two separate teams, but we work together as one.
Okay,
Um, we always go back to basic: digital recorder, K2, and a camera.
that's me.
That and ourselves because we are the best
Yep,
to know if
exactly.
there's something there. So
Yep, yep. Of course, I do have a EMF reader too, because many times I would be getting a call. I would go there and they claim that there's a devil in the house, or they claim that they have some type of entity in their home, and it's nothing more than a high EMF and
yeah,
the wiring in that. So we're able to identify that and explain to them what happens when you have high EMFs, and how there can be paranoia, how they can have some type of issues, skin issues, things like that, and they appreciate that. So and that's the other thing. I don't always go in there thinking that something's going to be haunted. I try to go in there as a skeptic, believing that there's some evidence for why I think that um, they're having this type of activity.
yeah. Did
yeah.
you ever encounter anything malevolent or evil during residential investigations?
Boy, have we! Um, no, I would say the one of the scariest and one that probably tested my Catholic faith was when I went to um, Bowling Green, Ohio. I received a call from a young couple. They felt that they had the devil in their apartment. Now, when I hear that, I normally think to myself, okay, um, they're either high on drugs, there's too much stress going on in the home, something to that effect. But in this particular case, the lady seemed very rational. She seemed like just a lot of fear. So we agreed to drive the couple hours to go to Bowling Green to see if we could help the couple. When we got there to the home, I was able to well, as I was walking out of the car, I should say, I noticed that there was a face that was looking out of the window, and the face seemed to be distorted. It seemed to be, I don't know, just weird. But when we got to the building itself, obviously the building itself seemed like it's seen its better days. And when we went inside and met with the couple, immediately I saw the fear on their face. And I asked her, I said, so, what's going on? And she says, well, we have a lot of shadows in our apartment. We hear moans, we hear screaming. And I said, well, what makes you think it's demonic? And she says, well, because when we first moved in here, I went around to all the apartments to introduce myself. And when we went upstairs uh, to introduce myself to the neighbor upstairs, when he opened the door, he invited me in, and there in his living room was an altar. And on the altar was an upside down cross, a skull, candles, and he said that he was a devil worshiper. So that really, you know, put my antennas up in that. And I said, well, we're going to definitely need to do some prayers because I'm a true believer that the antidote to darkness is light, and light to me is prayers. So anytime we went on investigations, I always told them, look, we'll come. If you want us to do an investigation, we can, but I'll teach you what you need to be um, healthy in your home to keep the evil away, and that's going to be through prayers. So we'll teach you the prayers of that. So in that case, we said we were going to do a rosary. So I said, what we'll do is we'll start out with the rosary, but please, whatever you do, if something happens, you see a shadow or you hear some kind of moan, don't run. We're going to keep praying. So as we started to pray, all of a sudden, you saw this huge shadow come across the wall and back into the bedroom. Already now my heart's starting to pound. And the lady was saying, "Oh my God, did you see that?" I said, "Yes, just keep praying." So we're praying, and then all of a sudden, the door of that apartment started to shake. The doorknob, the handle on the door, I thought was going to break off. It was rattling so hard. And at that time, I had a couple of my investigators. One of them went up to into the bedroom where the shadow went, and the other one went by the door and just put his hand on the door. I don't know if he did that because he was afraid the door was going to break down, or he thought he could keep some type evil spirit out of there. But I could not believe how shaken that door was. And like I said before, that sort of kind of really scared the heck out of me, and it was starting to test my Catholic faith of prayer. But I said, keep praying. So we kept praying. And all of a sudden, the client, the young lady, shouted out, I see an upside down cross. And I looked, and there on the wall was an upside down cross. It was kind of crooked a little bit, but nonetheless, it was an upside down cross. So again, keep praying. So we kept praying. And after a while, when we're getting near the end of the prayers, the room did start to feel light. You could see that the client was starting to feel more relieved. She wasn't as fearful as she was as when we started. But I wasn't finished. I said I wanted to go upstairs and I wanted to get some holy water and holy oil, and I wanted to bless that hall up there. And they said, well, the guy's not up there. I said, I don't care if he's there. I'm just going to go upstairs by the door. Well, when we started to walk up the stairs, I could hear screaming coming from that apartment. I mean, a loud, shrill. And that door was starting to shake, and the handle was starting to shake. And as I'm walking up the stairs, my legs were getting lighter and lighter, almost like they didn't want to go up to the next step. And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck am I doing? But I knew I had to do it. So we kept continuing to go up the stairs. And one of my investigators, when she got to the top of the stairs, she said, let's get out of here. But I continued to say some prayers. I placed the holy water on the door, and that's when the door even shook even more. And I put some holy water and some um, holy water and holy oil on the door. And that's when I said, "Okay, let's go." And I'll tell you, my feet couldn't go down those stairs fast enough because it really did shake my whole being. Got down to the bottom. We left, and about a week later, the lady called me and told me that her apartment was better. She didn't see any more shadows. The air felt light there, nothing heavy. But they did find a different apartment, and that within a couple of weeks they were moving out. And I'll have to tell you, Shane, and I'll have to tell you, Mary, I didn't blame them. I'd be out of that apartment as quick as could be as well.
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That is scary as hell.
yeah,
absolutely.
definitely tested my faith. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way. You know,
I can understand that.
because I'll be
Luckily,
honest with you, I don't mind when it's a spirit of some type. But when it comes to demonic possession, things like that, I don't like to be involved with it. I have, and I have said some exorcism prayers, Catholic prayers. But to be honest with you, when I get those calls, I would rather refer it to somebody like James that we were talking about earlier.
I don't know if he's still in, but
he
Uh,
will watch back and see it. Trust me.
right, right.
we have to tag him. James, you have to listen.
Yeah.
Did
But
you ever get something to follow you home?
I never really had anything follow me home. Um, the and I think part of the reason people ask me that all the time, and to be honest with you, again, in my faith, Catholic faith, I always pray, and one of the prayers that our team always prayed was going into it. We said the Saint Michael the Archangel prayer, and leaving we would say the Saint Michael Archangel prayer that nothing would follow us home. So we were always using the prayers and holy water and everything to bless us. So we never did. Now I've had other friends who have had investigations that claim that they had something follow home and that they had to have it taken away from. But no, I'll be honest with you, we never experienced it. Not one of my team members ever experienced that. Did you guys ever have that?
Uh, to be
No.
honest, yes.
Okay.
I got this little girl who followed me home, and we went to a location, and I was near my car, and I felt a hand in my hand, and
Ooh.
I said over there, "You can't come with me. You have to stay here. We will be coming back, but you can't follow us." Well,
Mm,
at the end, she did follow, and two friends of mine helped me to cross her over, but it took
okay.
us 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I, s- I said no, but yeah, I did exactly the same as Mary. Only this girl did come with me, and she is still in my house.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah, but she's a sweet little girl, so it doesn't bother me
Well,
at all.
there was a case in Parma, Ohio, and it was one of the probably most haunted cases that we had. In fact, that's one of them that James himself came to help us with, and another psychic medium by the name of Sonia Hossman, who really was very instrumental in helping us. But I received a call from a well-respected fourth generation psychic medium who said that he had a case for us. It required someone with a lot of investigation experience. See, this couple with the two children rented this home from the lady's uncle, His parents owned the home prior. What was strange about this case, though, was that it was deadbolted from the outside as though someone wanted to keep someone inside the house. The medium said that the medium being Greg, who referred it to us, uh, uncle and their relatives refused to answer any questions about the home and why the deadbolt. And so I contacted Tammy, the client, and she was full of fear. There was unexplained noises coming from the kitchen. She claimed a lot of shadows, footsteps were seen, and heard in all the rooms. In fact, Greg, the medium, revealed that Tammy's daughter had a spirit in the bedroom upstairs. Her name was Eddie, and was talking to it. And she refused to let this Eddie go. She just kept talking to it. He said, and there was way too many spirits in the home. So we agreed to meet with Tammy and her husband, and she explained um, how statues were constantly being knocked down, and in one bedroom was a closet upstairs with an attic door, and on the wall there was a dresser that was pressed up against it. And she said there were voices coming from the back in the closet. So they left the dresser against it, I guess, for safety reason. She said next to the dresser was a medicine cabinet. And inside the medicine cabinet, in this little closet, was 200 rosaries. And no one knew why. She described the walking one night. That there was. She woke up shaken in her bed, and her husband said he had been touched. Later, the children told us that they were having the same nightmare every night. That almost nightly that there was a claim in a dream a young girl was being held in the basement against her will, and in the dream, she is murdered trying to escape. So we set up equipment, and we did catch a young girl's voice saying, "Come near me." A voice was also captured in the basement, and an orb was seen upstairs. And I was able to capture the same sounding girl's voice saying, and this was near the bathroom upstairs, "Help me." So we performed a house blessing, and a number of psychics were brought in to help. There was blessings of the house, but always it always came back. Eventually I called in Psychic Sonia, who was experienced with these hauntings, and she sensed numerous spirits and was able to banish many of them. But one on one occasion, we heard the door open and slam, and dogs went barking at the door, but nobody was there. On one of the calls we received, Tammy said that her daughter went into her bedroom and she saw her pet rabbit levitating. And later that day, the refrigerator door kept opening and closing on its own. On other occasions, her son seen a young girl walking into his bedroom. When he went in there, there was nobody there. Um, and having had Sonia, she finally called in a shaman who did a Native American ritual, and it seemed like things quieted down there for a while, but then it came back. And one of the interesting things about this case was this: there was finally that one little girl that seemed to be there who we kept capturing on the digital recorder. And Sonia finally had enough and came in there and told the little girl that she did not want her to be there anymore. And kind of like what you were talking about, Mary, Sonia took that little girl and said, "You're coming home with me." And she lives on a farm with horses and everything. And she told the little girl she was going to be living with her on that farm. She supposedly put her into the barn over there. But yeah, I mean, talk about bringing a spirit home with you. No, I never did. And those Sonia who's really experiencing that everything, I would never attempt to do that. So, yeah.
Nope. It's not recommended.
No,
No.
no, not me. Oh, we've had
Uh,
so many experiences like that. It's as I said before, I know you can find a lot of things in old abandoned buildings, but the thing I like most about residential homes is it's kind of like my whole life for helping people with drugs. the police department helping people that are in trouble. The paranormal, you could help so many people. And when you're able to go in there and investigate and show them that there's natural explanations for it, the relief that's on their face is well worth all the time and effort that you put into it.
Yeah,
True.
absolutely.
We have some comments from James.
Hey, James.
He said, "Oh yeah, that was about the case. If it comes to demonic cases and everything, you wanted to
Yeah.
give it to him." He says, "Oh yeah." um, he also says Tony is a great investigator, and I'd recommend him over anyone.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And he has a story with you supposedly got a undulating orb on camera in a Parma home, and in that same home he got a cabinet open on camera also.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Like I
And
said, he was pretty instrumental in coming in there, and he right away saw that there were numerous spirits in that home.
yeah, he says about bringing a ghost home. I always blessed and cleansed all the team members and their cars to prevent any hitchhikers.
He's the one I learned that from. He's the one I learned that from.
Yeah, I usually do it myself, but kids, they're very stubborn if it comes to
Yeah.
I'm not s- I'm not staying here. Oh yes, I am. I'm coming with you.
Not in my car, they're not.
Well, usually they don't come with me, and we try to cross her over, but she really doesn't want to get crossed over, and she's like, I'm fine here, and I'll behave."
There are some that are
She
like
she
that. Yeah.
yeah, she even plays with my kids, so it's all
Yeah.
fine. It's all fun and games right
I've
now.
never,
So
I never met those really nice spirits like that, though.
this is a once in a lifetime. It will never happen again.
But
Probably,
No,
probably. Joanne shared out. Thank you,
thank you, Joanne.
Joanne, like always. Oh,
Has
I
there ever been a case where you were like, "Oh hell no, not in a million years, I'm coming to this one"?
yeah, but not necessarily because of the paranormal. There was one time in Mansfield, Ohio, that we had a call that they felt that they had a devil in the home. So we went out to hour and a half drive to Mansfield, Ohio to see if we could help. And when we got there, all we found was an apartment full of garbage, full of rat droppings, full of it was just disgusting. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Yes, that case in Bowling Green, Ohio did scare me a little bit. It did test my faith, but I got through it. I'm not afraid of ghosts. But one of the things that scared the heck out of me is people and the way they keep their homes. And if there's any type of rat droppings, spiders, things like that, I'm out of there. So we refused to take the case and told them because of the conditions, we just were not going to do it. So nothing paranormal, but just a disgusting. Uh, and to be honest with you, when we were there, we found evidence of drugs in the house. So, as I said before, many times when people call you and say they have a devil in their home, it's usually a matter of, they're involved with some type of drugs. And I'm not saying that lightly because I'm involved with people that have addictions and that. But, we'll get them the help that they need for that. But I'm not going to go into a house that's filled with, rat droppings and things like that. That's going to hurt any one of my investigators.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I wouldn't go there myself as well.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I never had a case where we said nope, we're not taking it. It's um, there were cases where they were so far out of town that we were not able to do. I had one in Buchanan, West Virginia, and sadly enough, this case is still going on after when was it? 2000, I think it was 2013 that I took that case on and drove the 4.5 hours to Buchanan where there was nothing but. I mean, I've never seen orbs as big as there was in this house, and sadly enough, it was an elderly lady who had her elderly mom living with her and her brother, and they were so poor they couldn't move out of the house. But we're talking about being pulled out of the bed. We're talking about knives being thrown and almost hitting them, sticking into the walls of the house. Um, orbs and objects and stuff. And to this day, I have the pictures of these orbs. I'd never seen orbs so big and illuminated like these orbs were. And a lot of times, people will send me videos saying, "Hey, take a look at this orb that I have." And of course, when you look at it, you know it's dust. I could tell right off the difference between dust and an orb. And when you see an orb, or true orb, you know it's an orb. But yeah, the case in Buckhannon, West Virginia, is a very sad case, and can't get any help. I tried to get the Catholic Church to help them because she's not a member of the Catholic Church, and they have so many cases themselves of their own faith. They were not able to help. We had a couple local teams go out there to try to help, and they were not able to help her as well with getting rid of any of the entities that were in that home.
Yeah, you sometimes have those cases, and it's
Yeah,
sad, but you can't help it.
yeah. I mean, sometimes, and I truly believe this. Sometimes you just have to walk away. Um,
Yeah,
you can't help every case, and sometimes you have to just let them know that you've done everything you could possibly do for them,
yep,
and just have to walk away from the case.
Yeah.
yeah, agree. Sad but true.
Yeah. James makes a stunning remark. Um, Usually, a family member will do something to invite something in their home, even if it unbeknownst to them. Then you come and evict the bad stuff, but the family member is often doing it again.
He's absolutely right. In fact,
Yep,
that Parma hospital that he was helpful in, um, the young lady who was talking to Eddie, the ghost or the spirit that was in there in that home. She kept telling me that she didn't play Ouija boards or did do any of those games, Bloody Mary, things like that. And here we find out that she was involved with games that try to conjure up the spirits. And so she wasn't truthful to us. In fact, when I was doing a rosary, a house blessing, in that, she was lying on that couch, and rather than participate in the prayers, she's laying on the couch looking up with almost these demonic looking eyes. And so, yeah, the family members don't realize that sometimes when you do these things, you're opening up that door for evil that could come in, and that's why, again, Archangel Paranormal Society was always there to try to help them understand. Another thing is, I had a case where the husband was very, very mean and aggressive to the wife and used to beat her, and though he obviously wasn't admitting to that, but the wife had bruises and stuff like that. And the reason why they called us was because they felt that there was something in their home very evil like. Well, the evil was him. And I try to explain to the family that she had several choices. Number one, she could continue on with being beat up and allowing her husband to treat her the way he was treating her, or she could leave and probably have a much better life. But other than that, if they would just understand that these evil things that he was doing was causing the evil that would come in. And I'm sure James and Sonia, both of them, have seen things like this in the past. Many reasons why evil will come into one's home: drugs, stress from a family member taking advantage of the person in that, illicit sex, all those type of things can open that door that end up causing a disturbance in a home like that.
yeah, agree.
Yeah.
We did get a comment of the Warren Area Society of Paranormal. We have to keep in mind that us teams invite things home with us on accident.
Read that again.
Sometimes.
We have to keep in mind that us teams invite things home by accident.
Oh yeah, well, I definitely agree with that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more.
yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent point.
those things happen. Those things
Yep.
happen.
Oh yeah,
If
Yeah.
it doesn't happen to you, well, where's the fun in that? Keeps you sharp.
exactly. Yeah,
Well, nice case to study.
right.
Yep.
In a safe
It's gonna be
environment.
home investigations. Home investigations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Uh, now, what made you decide to write a book?
Um, well, to be honest with you, I guess the experiences that I had in my life with everything that was going on was one of the biggest reasons why I decided I was going to write the book. But um, I think there was more than just that. There was um, my I think the experiences as I um, because after years of investigations, I realized something important, and that was fear changes people. Sometimes fear comes from misunderstanding. Sometimes it comes from grief. Sometimes it comes from trauma or even confidence. And sometimes after you eliminate everything, you can explain there's something remains there. One thing that I want to make clear from the very beginning, I'm not someone who walks into a house hoping it's haunted, because if it's not, that means that a frightened person gets peace of mind. I wrote between fear and fact because I became frustrated by two extremes. One said that they believe absolutely everything is paranormal, and the other said they dismissed every experience immediately. That was taking place. But real life usually exists somewhere in that middle. Over nearly 2 decades, I investigated ordinary homes occupied by ordinary people. I mean, I'm talking about teachers, retired couples, police officers, nurses, family with children. These are not attention seeking people that were trying to get internet famous. Most of them were embarrassed even to make the call. Honestly, paranormal television, in my opinion, has done a terrible job in terms of representing real investigations. Because on TV, every dust particle is a ghost. Every um, every noise is a demon, and apparently every investigator owns 17 flashlights and at least one leather trench coat. I don't own a trench coat, and I don't even look good in a trench coat. Real investigations are much more boring at first. You're looking at wiring, plumbing. You're looking at medical issues, environmental factors, and stress that I mentioned before that takes place in the household. So because skepticism is the first rule of serious investigation, I say something during the investigation that surprises people. I say, I hope we find a normal explanation for what's going on. In many cases, we did find, normal explanations, but not all. I mean, some cases were produced witness statements, environmental readings. I mean, I've had voices that we picked up on digital recorders, and events that simply refuse to fit neatly into conventional explanations. So that doesn't actually automatically prove ghosts, but it does mean that the experience deserves honest explanation, in my opinion, instead of ridicule, which sometimes people will do that. Police department always made fun of me because, oh, so you believe in ghosts? But one of the biggest misconceptions about the field is that investigations are trying to prove belief. I'm not interested in belief. Belief alone proves nothing. Evidence deserves it all. So history's full of discoveries that people once mocked or dismissed or feared simply because they didn't understand them. Yet now I'm saying every bump in the night is not supernatural. Sometimes your house does settle. Sometimes it is the plumbing. Sometimes your cat decides to sprint through the hallway at 3 o'clock in the morning, just as the gates of hell just opened up. But that's cats. I mean, that's not paranormal. But once in a while, you encounter experiences that force you to admit something uncomfortable. We may not fully understand everything, yet what appeared to me mostly over the years wasn't fear, it was people. Watching those families lose sleep, marriages becoming strained, children terrified to sleep alone, and people becoming afraid in the very place where they should or supposedly should feel safe in their own home.
Yeah.
So at
Absolutely.
the end of the day, fear, between fear and fact, it's not a book demanding that readers believe in ghosts. It's a book asking readers to critically examine evidence carefully to understand the
Yeah.
difference between fear, assumptions, and investigation. Because somewhere between blind belief and automatic dismissal, there's truth, and
Yeah.
sometimes that truth is stronger than we expect.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more. Warren Association's paranormal. It says there's not a demon behind every doorknob. Lol.
Yeah,
He's right.
exactly.
He's
Exactly.
right. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, I needed him on my team.
I
You never
think
know.
it started with sorry, Ghost Adventures, Zach Bagans.
Yep.
Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
he's seen demons not often,
Across
but
the board.
in every episode, and he get touched and
Yeah.
whatever,
Yep.
millions of cameras and nothing captured. So I think people need to know the difference between paratainment and real paranormal.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
There was a question of the Warren Area Association of Paranormal. Do you think it's a smart idea to investigate your own home or have it on another team to come in and with an objective view?
If you're asking my opinion of that, I think that it would be a good idea to have uh, a party to come in and investigate your own home. I know people that do investigate their own homes, but impartial party coming in, I think, would be good. But I would say this: if you're going to do that, make sure it's a team that you can really trust and feel confident in because, like I said, many teams, a lot of times people just become paranormal investigators for the thrill of it. They just want to go out to cemeteries and conjure up the dead and stuff like that. I'm not that way. So if you're going to have somebody do that, make sure it's a professional team, scientific team, one that is very skeptical and anything. But if you're asking for somebody to do that because nothing's going on in your house and you just want to trip them and see what they say, that's entirely different. I wouldn't recommend that either.
No. You can conjure without knowing.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
James says those TV shows probably did more damage than good.
I
I
agree.
agree.
I
yeah,
agree.
Yep.
I mean, and that's why people laugh at us when they hear that you're a paranormal investigator, and that's why I think the J.C. Knights and the Dinesh D'Souza with those books that they wrote, trying to make this feel more scientific and help people to understand that there is a quantum physics reason now why things are happening that the way that they're happening, and to me, quantum physics is going to be the next thing that's going to help people to believe in what we do and feel that it's a little bit more scientific rather than just mumble jumble.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, James made the same comment as you did.
yeah.
If there's nothing wrong with your home, if there's nothing broken, just don't fix it.
Exactly. Why would you have
Yeah.
somebody?
Yeah, some are so curious after seeing uh, ghost adventures, that kind of stuff, that they are buying ghost boxes, spirit boxes, um, a K2 meter, and start to investigate their own home,
Uh-huh.
and are surprised that their homes get haunted.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's always funny when you get those cases.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Then they start. Then you're like, "How do you think it happened? How did it start?" Well, I bought this, and then I'm like, "Oh God, there we go again."
I know. Don't you hate that? It's like, what's
Yep,
wrong with you?
yep. I am always like, because I always ask for gas money because I cannot go anywhere without my gas. But
Oh,
in those cases, I actually want to triple my gas money. I don't know why. It's a thing I want to do. Like seriously,
yeah, exactly.
you call them and I have to fix it. That's very annoying.
yeah.
That's the truth. Yep, that's the truth.
And
I like that.
Noreen, people expectations are unrealistic after watching the shows because they think you get activity rapid fire, and it doesn't work like that. Exactly. And
Mm.
we don't jump around and screaming around like Mr. Bagans. We are serious
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
sometimes.
I
Yeah,
agree. Yep.
Yeah, of course the real deal always when we have a class A EVP, of course we will be like, "Oh my god."
yeah,
But we will
Yeah,
not start running around like, "Oh, we have to do it again."
exactly. Yeah.
If I start doing that, you have to send me somewhere.
I kick your butt.
Yep.
um is there a bucket list in your area you really want to go to?
I would say there had been in the past, as I mentioned before, with trying to get to a castle. In fact, I had a friend who invited us, if the team to come up there, she would get us into a castle. But recently, I developed some type of heart disease, and so I'm really kind of winding down. And in fact, I really kind of basically stopped with the investigations as about 6 months ago. I still do house blessings and help people. In fact, last night I received a call at 1 o'clock in the morning from a person that felt that they had an entity in the house, and after about 25 minutes of talking with him, and find out that he was a drug addict. So I was able to get him the help that he needed as far as his addiction that go. But I'll continue to do house blessings and things like that. But as far as doing the house investigations and that, unfortunately, because of the heart disease that I have, I really can't get around like I did before. But I don't want to ever stop. But if somebody tells me to get me into a castle, I'm heading there.
I can understand that, and that is a once in a lifetime deal, definitely.
Exactly.
Definitely. If we ever have the chance to investigate a building, a castle, I will definitely give you a message
You, thank you. Let me know.
because that will be a lot for first for us as well. So, but you never know. We never say
You're
never.
a lot. You're a lot closer to them than I am.
True. That
Yeah,
is true.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
will still message you.
Yeah. Well, maybe I could contact that lady from Ireland and see if she can get us all in there.
Yeah, I think you mean Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lab Castle.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, it's a small world in this world.
Oh, isn't it? Wow. It is.
yeah.
Yeah, she invited us a couple of times already, but Ireland, yeah, we still haven't done it. We should really do
No.
that.
I, I have
And,
it on my bucket list for
Oh yeah,
September.
yeah.
well, sadly, my son, he does conferences and owns his own company, and he would go to Ireland often. And I kept telling him I like to be his assistant. And I said, once I get to Ireland, then you're on your own, and I'm going to a castle. But that would be so awesome, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, it would definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I'll work on that
Yeah.
for. I'll have
I,
to take it. I'll have to take a lot of Xanax though because I hate flying.
oh, I love flying.
Sure.
I don't mind flying, but if I'm 6 hours over the ocean,
Yeah.
then we have a problem.
Oh, that when
Yeah,
my son took me to Italy, I mean that was what 7 hours flight or
yeah,
something like that,
yeah.
and I don't get up once I'm in my seat, so that 7 hours was really straining to sit in there as long as I did. But
Yeah.
you got to go to the bathroom a couple times.
I just wanted to say, how did you do that?
I didn't do it well. Let me tell you.
Well, I have to be honest. I don't get out of my seat as well. I just
Uh,
don't. I just don't feel like standing up. I'm a big guy. I have to. No, it's gonna get messy. Trust me.
yeah.
If I trip and fall, that plane's gonna go down.
Oh.
At least a couple of meters is gonna be like. So
Okay.
I'll just say seated. Yeah.
There you go.
I'll wait until we're then there, but
Okay.
I'll start peeing then.
All right. If we make it to Ireland, I'm on a different plane than you. Okay.
Yeah, probably.
No, I promise I'll stay seated, so it's fine.
Okay.
You'll be
Okay,
fine.
I remember in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to the toilet, sit, sit.
That's not that long of a flight, so that's gonna be fine.
Well,
Okay.
the problem was my son got us a seat way in the front, right by the restroom. But when I got up and said I'm going to have to go to the restroom, I got up and the waitress or the flight attendant goes, "Sir, this restroom is broke. You're going to have to use the one in the rear of the plane." Now we're on a huge plane, right? And you think I'm going to walk all the way to back to the back of that plane
Mm-mm.
to use that restroom? My son did help me. He assisted me to the back of the plane, but it was like a drunken sailor trying to walk back there to try to get to the restroom. It was not
Yeah.
pretty at all. And I will not want to be the person that had to clean that restroom when I was done.
No.
Oh, I see it vivid.
I don't think I hit the bullseye once.
Oh dear.
Oh my God, those poor people who went after you.
Well, it's not always paranormal. You know that, man.
This was perfectly normal.
Of course. Especially when you can't walk down a plane when it's 35,000 feet in the air and traveling 500 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Not normal.
it is.
You're
That's
gonna
called
have the rest of the evening.
para restroom. Out of the ordinary. You could use that phrase anytime.
I am so going to use that on the plane in 3 weeks.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, we came to the end
All right.
already, and you were worried because you weren't that much of a talker. And look at us, we made it.
We made it. There you go. Let's see. You had one person come on though. That's no, I'm kidding.
We
Yeah,
had
there were a lot of
It
people
just-
watching,
It
so
was
that's
Yeah.
good.
it was just James, wasn't it?
yeah, James.
Yeah, there were enough people watching, so it will be fine.
No, but I do appreciate you bringing me on. And like I say, I never really wanted to do these type of shows and that because I really didn't feel like I had a whole lot to offer. But since I did write the book, I think that my goal also was also to help other people that either wanted to get into the paranormal to understand what it is and what the right way to do it is and what the right reason to do it is. as well as people that have been in it in a long time and saying, hey, maybe there is something or two that we can learn from this. So
Yeah.
that's why I really appreciate you bringing me on your show and helping me to get out of my shell a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Always.
It
Always.
was an
I
all.
have one. I have one last question.
Yep.
Sure,
One last question,
sure.
because you've done this for a long time. To the newbies in the field, do you have any recommendations or advices?
Um, what I would do is try to have them do what the police department does is they have a lot of people do ride-alongs. I would suggest the same thing: a ride along with a professional paranormal group. That a group that that is skeptical, somebody that's going to be able to help them and guide them along the way, and do a walkthrough with them. So when they have a case, see if they'll let them tag along with them. I know a lot of paranormal groups won't do that. We did. We allowed people to come, and I would try to help train them and show them the right way to do it. That would be my suggestion. Kind of do a walk along with them.
Yeah, great advice. Thank you.
I'll
Absolutely.
refer them to you.
They have to fly it over here.
He goes, why the heck did I ask that question?
No, 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 no. I'm glad to train people and help them and
That's
get
awesome.
them on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we are at the end of the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. And
Yes,
as always, I will click everybody in the back, and we will end with some music. And Tony, we hope to see you again
that's great.
one
Thank you
day.
very. Thank you. I hope so too. In Ireland.
Oh yeah, that will be cool. A combined investigation. That would be cool.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That
that
would make
All
really
a great
right.
makes
podcast.
my day.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us,
You
everybody who
bet.
was in the chat and participated with us and asked the question. James, of course. Thank you so much for
Thank,
joining us,
thank you. Good night.
and have a good night,
You too.
everybody.
Okay.
See
Good
you
night.
next week.
Bye bye.
Fingers tapping on the veil too loud. Voices from the cracks in the floor. Shadows bending where light won't go. Chasing truth in a haunted show. Are they real or something? Psychic dreams or skeptics grin. Ghosts of questions circling within. Answers vanish before they land. Investigators with their tools in hand, talking to the dark like it understands. Spirits rising from the sand.